Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the Mandurah Performing Arts Centre and to the launch of the City of Mandurah's Arts, Heritage and Culture Strategy. My name is John Hughes and I'm the Manager of Libraries, Learning Arts and Culture at the City of Mandurah, and I'm responsible for the delivery of the strategy. I'd like to welcome our special guests, Mayor Marina Vigoni, Harry Nannup, Aboriginal Elder and newly appointed Honorary Freeman of the City of Mandurah, and George Wally, Cultural Advisor, Musician and Curator. I'd also like to welcome Duncan Ord, Director General of the Department of Culture and the Arts, who's our keynote speaker today and a panel member. But first of all, please welcome Harry.
Thank you very much, John, for that warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you all for coming today. I've been around this city here for quite a long time, and last Monday was a really big day for me. I received this medal on my chest here, which I'm wearing very proudly today, and I didn't accept it as a Freeman of the City of Mandurah on my behalf, but on the behalf of my family before me that did a lot of work around here and were never recognised for it. And so that's why I'm wearing this proudly today, because my family, as always, did their best in this city. And I'm always honoured to be here for the City of Mandurah, because the City of Mandurah, I don't think there's any other council that does what they do. That's to help our people, to stand by our people, and to share with our people, and to ask us to get involved. If there's any changes around here to be made, they always ask us to be involved. And I can carry on all day here, but I don't want to bore you folks out there. But I got a lot to do with Mandurah. I've had a lot to do. I'm nearly 70 years of age, but my brothers and all my family did a lot of work around here. My father also was a hard worker in this area. He cleared that Anstruther Road up there by hand with his brothers and their kids. They did a good job, but they never recognised for it. But I do want to say that it was a privilege to accept this medal, this honour of Mandurah, because of my family. And today you're going to see some great dances, which I'm always proud of, because I know where I come from, and I think they know where they come from. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to hold things up too long, but I thank the Mayor and everybody involved here today for our achievement, because it's working together that's going to get us somewhere, and I hope that we just keep going. Today, I want to say welcome to all of you, and thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Weren't those, what are they, the Mandurah Midars dance group? They were just awesome. I always love seeing them dance. It's just such a spiritual culture. I'd like to also thank Harry for his beautiful words and our new Freeman of the City. We're very honoured to have you up here today too, Harry. Now, I am delighted to be here today to officially launch the City of Mandurah's first Arts, Heritage and Culture Strategy. Mandurah is an emerging cultural centre where our community can experience the rich history, heritage and the arts through many facilities and programs that we promote. Our Arts, Heritage and Culture Strategy is simply our plan for the future. Without it, it's difficult for stakeholders and investors to understand what they can do and how they can help us achieve our goals. Cultural planning is extremely important. It impacts the way we live and work. It celebrates diversity. It's intrinsic to personal development and well-being. It helps address social issues and creates jobs and opportunities for constructive engagement. The scope of the strategy covers two main areas. The first one is capturing the culture of Mandurah, its personality, characteristics, and what makes it so special and unique. Secondly, it reflects on our achievements to date and how we can turn our strategic plan into action. Mandurah is firmly steeped in its relationships to the estuary, water, maritime history, and our strong Aboriginal heritage and culture. We need to carefully protect the natural and built environment where heritage and history is preserved, capturing our story for the future. We need to nurture and preserve our past, reflect on our present and inform our future. The strategy also identifies the need to develop and nurture talent, skills development, innovation and creativity. Now, we've identified 5 objectives to address the key issues of the arts, heritage and culture strategy. They are creative communities, and that is providing opportunities to develop, nurture talent, innovation and creativity. Creative culture, continuous development of products, events and programs that highlight Mandurah's Aboriginal and ecological history. Creative spaces, support the development and preservation of areas that reflect and contribute to Mandurah's unique and natural environments to create a sense of place and identity. Creative excellence, building community capacity to foster excellence, high levels of attainment and encourage new audience within the arts, heritage and cultural sector. And creative economy, encourage a mixed economy through diversifying the cultural offer to encourage investment and jobs to the local economy. The City of Mandurah has been actively and successfully engaged in cultural development for more than 10 years. We have brought a variety of programs, learning opportunities, historic and artistic events, and creative activities to residents and visitors. We are extremely proud of the venues that we have, including the building that we're standing in today, the Mandurah Performing Arts Centre, or MPAC. MPAC is a key driver for artistic excellence, settling high standards. Having a quality, fit-for-purpose regional venue has enabled the city to attract high-calibre organisations and individuals that local community would previously not have been able to see. They would have had to have driven all the way to Perth and beyond, and we had them right here in our back door. These high standards are also reflected in IMPACT's community and education programs, which build audiences, develop capacity and encourage authentic experiences and activities. MPAC has a reputation as a key cultural centre and is now recognised as having national significance. This was cemented in 2013 with the Performing Arts Centre of the Year Award, the Drover Award, for Best Regional Theatre in Australia. Contemporary Art Spaces Mandurah, or as we all call it, CASM, is a managed exhibition and workshop space suited to emerging artists and recent graduates. Over the last 2 years, CASM has hosted 16 exhibitions featuring local and international artists with 56 workshops which have attracted over 500 local and regional residents developing their own artistic skills. The Mandurah Community Museum, which is now open 6 days a week and has seen significant growth in their visitor numbers, school groups and volunteers. And we have the Alcoa Mandurah Art Gallery, which hosts over 14 exhibitions per year, representing local, national and international artists. In the last 2 years, over 60 venues have provided a space for cultural activity to take place, and over 120 partnerships have helped deliver well over 200 programs and activities with a wide range of individuals of all ages and abilities. So over 162,000 people annually are involved in arts, heritage and cultural activities facilitated by the city. Now, some of our high-profile local achievements include the Stretch Arts Festival, which continues its success, focusing on creating a unique, engaging and inspirational event. Stretch also contributes to cultural tourism in the Peel region. Since 2011, the Stretch Arts Festival has seen an increase in attendance of around 57%. It has created employment opportunities for over 150 local artists. It's partnered with over 80 cultural and business organisations and has attracted more than $150,000 of external investment. The Common Threads Wearable Art competition is another success, with a reputation for excellence and the only competition of its kind in the state. We have seen a 450% increase in entries since 2011. We are now attracting entries from New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, Queensland and the Northern Territory, as well as the USA and New Zealand. One of our other major projects this year is a public art program to celebrate the life and times of Yabagurt, a significant Noongar leader of the Pinjarra community. Yabagurt was a 10-year-old survivor of the Pinjarra massacre. 2015 marks 100 years since his death. The commemoration will serve as a very practical recognition of Aboriginal people in Western Australia. Our local community is very engaged with the arts, culture and heritage environment. More than 2,000 people are involved with 25 community organisations, including arts and crafts, bell ringing, writing groups. We have the Mandurah Choral Society, Mandurah Concert Band and the Mandurah Historic Society. So thank you to all of these groups who have contributed to this strategy. We recognise your call to strengthen our cultural infrastructure, including more affordable places to rehearse and greater capacity for you to deliver your excellent programs to a growing audience. So as you can see, we have made a great start to achieving our goal of becoming a leader in shaping the cultural agenda for Western Australia and beyond. But we do have a long way to go. Our longer-term plans will include exploring the need for a regional cultural centre, a space for community that will encourage cultural diversity. Our arts, heritage and cultural strategy and 6-year implementation plan will ensure that we are able to meet diverse and different tastes, expectations and aspirations, whilst maintaining the cultural infrastructure as we grow. We have also identified key strategic projects that will build our community capacity and develop and sustain our cultural appetite, whilst identifying ambitious projects that will incorporate our regional, state and national partners. In conclusion, our vision is to build a unique, rich and creative, world-class cultural city with the opportunity for everyone. Well, thank you for listening, and let's join together to make Mandurah an even better place to live, work, learn and do business. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon. And I'd like to start by thanking Harry for your very generous and warm welcome to country. It's great to see George Wally here as well. It's probably timely. I mean, I think, Harry, you said a great sort of opening address, really, and hopefully the tenure for our discussions ahead to remember where we've come from, where we're going, and the enormous contribution yourself and your families have made. Being Director General of the Arts, it's at times important to acknowledge a contribution of people to the arts over long periods of time. And the Nannup and Wally families, I go back actually with the families back to the 70s myself in my own arts practice days, and so I'm quite mindful that the families are really quite significant in a West Australian historical context for the pioneering they did of bringing Aboriginal language and culture back, if you like, from a period of time when it was certainly not understood, seen, recognised by the broader community. Through the leadership of the families and in a way enormous generosity of spirit to get over what had been a significantly difficult period of time since Wyatt's settlement, they embraced the idea of the arts and interpretive arts as a way of telling their story, of seeking to find some fundamental truth and reconciliation, and then ultimately, as proud Western Australians, bring that culture out to the world. And I know your family, now grandchildren and so on, and I suspect great-grandchildren are carrying on those traditions, and the Pinjarra dances will have been travelling nationally and internationally, are often used by the state and federal governments to represent Australia culturally. So there's much to be proud of in this region, and for the contribution, Harry, you and your family. So I'm delighted that you've gained the recognition as Freeman of the City. I suspect you always thought you were a Freeman of the City, but it's always nice to get a badge to have that's so ordained. So I'd also like to very much thank you, Marina, for the kind invitation to come today, for your leadership of the cultural strategy, and thank the staff of the City of Mandurah and Guy from the Performing Arts Centre for welcoming me here today. Also like to acknowledge my colleague Henry Boston, who's from the Chamber of Arts and Culture, a very important innovation in the state, a unity of business and industry, cultural industry organisations coming to promote the opportunities the arts provides to the West Australian community and advocate on the behalf. So I certainly appreciate, Henry, being here. And also appreciate the work you do. So thank you, and other distinguished guests and members of the community. It's great to have you here. So thank you for the invitation to join the launch of the city's arts, heritage and cultural strategy. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to taking part in the panel discussion to follow. I'm a strong believer in think global, act local, something I think local government is in a position to do extremely well. This is the tier of government that is closest to the community, which gives it an informed and valuable role in the provision of cultural and arts experiences. Through strategies such as Arts, Heritage and Culture Strategy, local government plays a key role in mapping the arts and culture desires of the community and in mediating local engagement in civic society. State agencies are one step removed from this conversation, so local government plays a pivotal role in providing organisations such as the Department for Culture and the Arts with current information around key areas such as future needs, aspirations, growth projects and infrastructure. Gone are the days where cultural infrastructure meant the footy oval, maybe a tennis court, and if we were lucky, a swimming pool. Throughout the state, local governments are now assessing budget priorities around cultural activities, reflecting the aspirations of their local community. In terms of funding provided to heritage, culture and the arts, local government is now a significant contributor alongside the state and Commonwealth governments. Western Australian local government provided $150 million in cultural funding during 2012-13, the last year we've got current data for, which is significantly higher than the national average. Local government has always played an important role in providing key cultural infrastructure. However, 88% of this funding provided went towards recurrent activities or funding events, activities, programming and people to enliven spaces and communities. As the strategy shows, Mandurah is on the threshold of major change. With a growth rate exceeding WA's average and a population forecast to be around 122,500 within the next 20 years. This is also a timely reminder of just the sheer social and economic importance of the Peel Harvey Wetlands and Environment. Harry in his address and Marina talked about the long heritage and connection to the land. Some time ago, some 6 months ago or so, 7 months ago, I did a stint in Department of Planning, so I had leadership of strategic environmental assessment, which is recognised at national importance, this area, and the importance of a sustainable management of growth in this region because of the importance of the wetlands and its environment. I have a personal connection to that because my grandfather built a cottage on the Murray River about the time of the First World War, so we're now coming up to around 100 years ago. So as a grandchild, I spent my childhood on the Murray River and the Peel Estuary. I remember when the Murray River was freshwater right through to late summer. And I remember that you could catch prawns and fish and crabs all through the river. We didn't see too many dolphins in those days coming up. I'm not sure that they like the fresh water. But I have seen and continue to love this part of the state and seen its enormous growth and development. But I'm delighted around its cultural development, which has gone well beyond the throw a prawn on the barbie days of my youth and the occasional trip to the jetty, I think, where we used to run amok. to one where you can come here throughout the year and enjoy a vibrant and really exciting cultural scene, including clearly the work of local artists and now increasingly the work of artists nationally and internationally as they come through this wonderful performing arts centre. I take the opportunity to pay tribute to governments past for their vision in building a theatre of such iconic status in this area and placing a piece of cultural infrastructure at the heart of your city. One I know you are immensely proud of, but it was a bit of foresight that could have been lost in the scramble for commercial development of this type of a land site. So I think it was a credit to those who thought it through and created a space such as this. This city is one of the state's most pleasant places to live, which was underlined by the nomination for the world's second most livable city in 2011 International Awards for Livable Communities. Its potential is enormous. Already around 280,000 visitors a year come to spend time in the city, and this will only increase in years to come. Mandurah occupies an interesting position as it is both a major centre for the Peel region and a local government authority on the edge of our capital city. The strategy being launched here today ensures that Mandurah has a flourishing heritage, culture and arts sector that retains and reflects the city's unique history and culture, as well as the interests of its community. This makes documents such as the strategy and discussions such as the one we're about to have extremely important tools in plotting the city's course in these areas, which means you're right in thinking that the continued democratisation of the arts must be in the heart of your work, as it must be for the departments. That is, the ability to value what we personally find culturally enriching while recognising and valuing the preferences of others. An outstanding example of this is the Fringe World Festival, now in its 4th year, and of which, Guy, you've embraced by having your mini-festival hubbub, and good luck with that. I think it looks like a great program, so well done in bringing that to Mandurah. The festival's eclectic mix of fringe, theatre, dance, visual arts, comedy, burlesque and circus has been swiftly embraced by audience in ever-increasing numbers. In fact, I think it's almost startled the state at how rapid the fringe has developed in the city. For me, I actually went to one of the opening fringe events last night in the city, and I was sitting there, and one of the difficulties when you're strategising is trying to guess what the future's going to look like. And I certainly remember as a very small child in South Perth, my mother taking me to a vaudeville show. And, you know, later in my arts career through the 70s, 80s, you know, the idea of vaudeville being dead was well and truly there. I sat in the Spiegel tent last night watching essentially vaudeville being embraced by, largely I was one of the oldest people there, the younger generation, and saying we have to be very careful about counting down and out art forms and things. So I think the death of books, the death of films, the death of theatre, the death of ballet, opera, I don't think we want to call that in quite yet, just because our kids are excited by new technologies and whiz-bang devices. For what I saw last night was some just great old-fashioned theatricality done by brilliantly, mostly young, talented people performing to other engaged young people is as relevant as it was 200 years ago as it is today and remains in the future. So I'm sure the Fringe will capture the same imagination of generations mine and generations X, Y, and I think we're up to about Z. So I'm very optimistic that through the innovation of things like the Fringe Festival and community festivals, that we have reignited the importance of culture and arts in people's everyday lives. Just flick over that, because I did a bit of freewheeling there. Through strategies such as yours, local government can provide vital community information to assist agencies such as mine with both its planning process and the prioritisation of scarce resources. On this note, late last year, the Minister for Culture and the Arts released the 4-year Regional Arts and Culture Action Plan. The plan aims to increase creativity and access to the arts in regional Western Australian communities and the city of Mandurah, was a key partner and a stakeholder in the appeal consultation process. What is clear that we need to do things differently in order to create and sustain a thriving cultural and arts sector, including moving away from our reliance on big events. They are important, but they are only part of the picture. To assist in this, we need to look at the issues of access and infrastructure so that facilities better engage with the sector. The Mandurah Performing Arts Centre is an example of this type of innovation and engagement. The venue, as the Mayor said, won the award, the Drovers Award in 2013 for Best Performing Arts Centre in the country for its programming and inclusive approach. I see the centre has taken on the Fringe and with 10 performances scheduled for the Broadwalk Theatre and Fish Trap at the centre during the festival. The City of Mandurah's continued commitment is evident in the ongoing success of the Stretch the Arts Festival and the others that the Mayor provided information on earlier. So hopefully some groundbreaking work by DCA around demonstrating the intrinsic value of the sector will make it easier for you to quantify the value of your cultural and arts sector to your community. We've recently announced the creation of our department's new web-based system called Culture Counts. And this is an interactive system that assists people as they engage with the arts to provide feedback on the experience, whether it met their expectations, whether they were surprised by it, whether they were challenged by it, all sorts of vital information that normally is quite difficult to get from audiences. We normally just track ticket sales and take those kind of things as a measure. Now we're trying to measure how events, free events, just walking into a gallery impact the community on a day-to-day basis. The Culture Count system is being developed by ourselves and the British Council in the UK. It's quite world-leading technology and we'll be rolling it out through a series of partnerships which we hope will include the Mandurah Performing Arts Centre, so we can start to gauge and compare and sense the differences in views, aspirations, in interactions of audiences in different parts of the state. I'd like to just finish up by reflecting on a little bit of theatrical history to recognise the contribution again that this region has made to the arts. In June this year, another tour of the play Mandurah will take place touring the eastern states. This play was first performed in 1994. Frank Nannup was one of the original cast members. At its time it was an improvised piece of theatre, so it wasn't traditionally scripted. It told the story of the Mandurah massacre, but using a satirical style performance with 6 actors, 3 white, 3 black, or 3 Aboriginal, interacting in roles, changing their positions and their views of the event, and providing a graphic, moving, emotional, powerful, but also very truthful look at a seminal event of this region's history. Not only is that play was important to the community here, that story was told and is retold, but it's become really important right around Australia. It continues to tour. So that show's been on the road on and off for 21 years. It's still getting rave reviews. And has probably been performed as often as any piece of contemporary Australian theatre written in the last 21 years. So that shows that you do punch above your weight. So congratulations on the artists of this region for their contribution, and I look forward to the discussions and your interaction now. I'll be listening carefully and hopefully I'll be able to reflect some of your aspirations back to the Minister and to my department. So thank you.
Thanks very much, Duncan. That was great.